once asked my grandmother, "Did you love grandfather when you married him?" She looked at me with eyes that had seen many seasons and said something I will never forget. "Love? No, my child. I did not love him at first, but I respected him."
Love? No, my child. I did not love him at first, but I respected him.
And respect is the soil in which love grows. I was confused. In the world I was growing up in, love was everything. Love was what mattered most. Love was what you built a life on. But my grandmother shook her head gently. Love without respect is like a fire without wood. It burns bright for a moment, then dies. But respect lasts. And when respect is there, love will come. Deep love, lasting love. In traditional African culture, children were not first taught to love. They were first taught to respect. Because our elders understood something the modern world is forgetting. Love is an emotion that comes and goes, but respect is a foundation that holds everything together. Come closer. Let me tell you why. This principle, respect before love, was not unique to one tribe or one family. It stretched across the African continent, from the villages of the Yoruba to the compounds of the Zulu, from the homes of the Akan to the communities of the Kikuyu. Everywhere, in societies where tradition was honored, children learned early, respect is not optional. Respect is not negotiable. Respect is the foundation of all relationships, with parents, with elders, with ancestors, with the community, even with oneself. In traditional African life, where families were large and communities were interdependent, where survival required cooperation and harmony, respect was the glue that held everything together. Our elders did not wait for children to feel love before they taught them to behave with respect. They did not say, "Love your parents, and then you will respect them." They said, "Respect your parents, and love will grow naturally from that respect," because they understood that love is something you feel, but respect is something you do, and what you do shapes what you feel. When you practice respect, speaking kindly, listening carefully, obeying willingly, honoring boundaries, love has space to grow. But when respect is absent, even love can turn into something harmful, something possessive, something that hurts rather than heals. Now, let me tell you why respect was taught before love. There are 3 reasons woven together like the roots of an ancient tree: spiritual, cultural, and practical. First, the spiritual reason. In African spirituality, respect is not just a social courtesy, it is a sacred duty. We believe that when you respect someone, you are honoring the divine presence within them, the ancestral spirit that flows through them, the life force they carry. Our elders taught us that every person, especially elders, especially parents, carries the blessings and protection of the ancestors. When you disrespect them, you are not just offending a person. You are disrupting the spiritual order. You are cutting yourself off from the blessings that flow through lineage. Respect is the channel through which wisdom, blessing, and guidance flow from the old to the young. When that channel is blocked by disrespect, the flow stops. The child loses access to something they desperately need. This is why, in many African cultures, children are taught to greet elders properly, to kneel or bow when speaking to them, to use honorific titles. These are not empty gestures. They are spiritual practices that keep the connection alive, that keep the blessings flowing. Second, the cultural reason. Beyond the spiritual, respect also serves a cultural purpose. It creates order, stability, and harmony in the community. In African culture, relationships have structure, not because some people are better than others, but because structure prevents chaos. Parents guide, elders advise, children learn. Everyone has a role, and respect is what allows each person to fulfill their role without conflict. When children are taught to respect before they are taught to love, they learn something crucial. Relationships are not just about feelings. They are about responsibility. You do not treat your parents well only when you feel loving toward them. You treat them well because it is right, because it is your duty, because that is what holds the family together. This principle extends beyond family. It teaches children how to navigate all relationships, how to treat neighbors, how to behave in the community, how to interact with authority. Respect becomes the default mode of relating, not something conditional on whether you like someone or feel warm toward them. And this creates peace, because when everyone practices respect, even in moments of disagreement or tension, the community does not fall apart. Third, the practical reason. And then there is the practical side, the side rooted in survival and social cohesion. Our elders observed that love alone is not enough to sustain relationships. Love is wonderful. Love is powerful. But love is also unpredictable. It swells and fades. It can be influenced by mood, by circumstances, by external pressures. But respect is steady. Respect is a choice you make, regardless of how you feel in the moment and in the hard times. And there are always hard times. It is respect that keeps people together when love feels distant. Think about marriage. In traditional African marriages, couples were not always chosen by romantic love. They were brought together by family, by circumstance, by practical considerations. And yet, many of these marriages lasted a lifetime, grew into deep love, produced strong families. How? Because they were built on respect first. The husband respected the wife. The wife respected the husband, and from that foundation of mutual respect, love grew. Not the fleeting emotion of infatuation, but the deep, enduring love that comes from truly knowing and honoring another person. There is a proverb among many African peoples, spoken in different languages, but carrying the same profound truth. Nea odenidi ma wo no wode animuaniam san ma no. From the Akan people, it means, the one who gives you respect, you repay with honor. This proverb teaches us that respect is not a one-way street. It is a reciprocal relationship. When you receive respect, you are obligated to return it. And this cycle of mutual respect creates strong, lasting bonds. The proverb also reminds us that respect begets respect. When parents respect their children as individuals with dignity, children learn to respect them back. When elders show respect for the young by listening to them, by guiding them with patience, the young return that respect through obedience and honor. This is the wisdom. Respect is not about dominance, it is about recognition. When you respect someone, you are saying, I see your value, I honor your place, I will treat you with the dignity you deserve. And when this is done consistently, love naturally follows. Let me tell you more about my grandmother and grandfather and how respect built their love. They were married young, as was the custom. My grandmother was 17. My grandfather was 22. They barely knew each other. There was no courtship, no romance, no declarations of love. But from the beginning, they treated each other with respect. My grandfather never raised his voice at her. My grandmother never spoke ill of him, even to her friends. He consulted her on decisions. She supported his work. They moved through life as partners, not because they felt overwhelming love, but because they honored each other. And over the years, something beautiful happened. That respect deepened into love. Real love. The kind of love that survives hardship, that grows through challenges, that becomes stronger with time. By the time I knew them, they had been married for over 40 years, and the way they looked at each other, it was not the giddy excitement of young romance. It was something deeper. It was the look of two people who had built a life together, brick by brick, with respect as their foundation. When my grandfather died, my grandmother wept for days, not because she had always felt butterflies around him, but because she had respected him. And through that respect, she had come to love him more deeply than words could express. I also remember how respect was taught in our home. My father never hit my mother. My mother never disrespected my father in front of us children. When they disagreed, and they did disagree, they did so quietly, away from our hearing. They modeled respect, and we learned it by watching. When I spoke disrespectfully to my mother once, my father did not shout. He simply said, "The woman you just spoke to is the reason you are alive. She carried you, she fed you, she sacrificed for you, and you will speak to her with respect, or you will not speak at all." I never forgot that. In our village, there were families where love was loud, but respect was absent. Husbands and wives who claimed to love each other, but shouted insults during arguments. Parents who said they loved their children but embarrassed them publicly. Children who said they loved their parents but disobeyed constantly. And those families troubled. There was constant conflict, constant tension, constant pain. But in the families where respect was present, even if love was quiet, even if affection was not openly displayed, there was peace, there was stability, there was trust. And often, in those families, the deepest love existed. Not loud love, not performative love, but steady, enduring, unshakable love. Now, I know the modern world places love at the center of everything. We are told to follow our hearts, to love freely, to prioritize emotional connection above all else. And there is beauty in that. Love is a gift. Love is powerful. But here is what I want you to consider. Has the emphasis on love at the expense of respect made relationships stronger or weaker? In many modern relationships, people say, "I love you," but do not show respect. They claim deep affection but speak harshly. They profess devotion but violate boundaries. They say they cannot live without each other, but treat each other carelessly. And these relationships often do not last, because love without respect is fragile. It is all feeling and no foundation. Many African families, even today, still teach their children respect first. They teach them to honor their parents, not because they always feel loving toward them, but because respect is non-negotiable. They teach them to treat all people with dignity, even when emotions run high. And what they are finding is what our ancestors always knew. When you build relationships on respect, love has space to grow. Real love, lasting love. This does not mean we abandon love. It means we understand its proper place. Love is the fruit, respect is the tree. You cannot have fruit without the tree, but if you only focus on the fruit and neglect the roots, nothing grows. In a world where divorce rates are high, where relationships feel disposable, where people jump from one connection to another searching for that perfect feeling, maybe we need to reclaim the wisdom of respect first, love second. I think about my grandmother often, about the way she built a life with my grandfather, not on the shaky ground of fleeting emotion, but on the solid foundation of mutual respect. And I am grateful, because that is the model I carry. That is the lesson that shaped me. In a world that tells us love is all we need, maybe we need to remember what our elders knew. Love is not all we need. We need respect. We need honor. We need commitment. We need the daily choice to treat each other well, even when we do not feel like it. Because respect is not the enemy of love. Respect is the cradle in which love is born, the soil in which it grows, the walls that protect it when storms come. And when we teach our children respect before we teach them love, we are giving them something precious, the ability to build relationships that last, that endure, that withstand the tests of time. So now I ask you, were you taught to respect before you were taught to love? Do you see the wisdom in this, or do you believe love should come first? And here is my second question. Have you seen relationships that were built on love alone, without respect? What happened to them? Tell me your story. Tell me your culture. Tell me what your elders taught you about respect and love. And if this story made you think differently about how we build relationships, if it reminded you that respect is not old-fashioned but timeless, then stay with us. Follow Roots of Africa, where we honor the wisdom of the elders, where we remember that strong relationships are built on respect, and where we teach that love grows best when it is rooted in something deeper. May you always give and receive respect. May your relationships be built on solid ground. And may you discover that when respect is present, love is inevitable. Until we meet again by the fireside, go well.